17 days ago in Springfield, Missouri, it was the Bears and Birds. The final seconds of this one, Jared Dixon with desperation, and yes, he hits the buzzer beater, and the Bears knock off the Birds for meeting number one. And tonight, it's matchup number 2, the rematch between the Illinois State Redbirds here at Redbird Arena in Normal, Illinois, as they play host to the Missouri State Bears in our Missouri Valley Conference Game of the Week. And a pleasant good evening, everyone, along with the coach, Rich Savosic, Scott Warman. Great to have all of you along with us here tonight. This should be a special matchup as we had the final week of the regular season, just like we saw between these two teams 17 days ago, Coach.
Well, that first matchup was a launching pad for Missouri State. They have went on to become the league leader, playing for a conference championship. Meanwhile, Illinois State has been snake-bitten, lost 5 in a row. However, they may have turned the tide with a win against Drake over the weekend.
All right, Coach, let's take a look at a couple of big men, if you will, in the Missouri Valley Conference. We'll start with the Bears of Missouri State. Tulio Da Silva may be the best newcomer in the league this season.
When Dana Ford made the decision to become a half-court team, the focal point became Tulio Da Silva, and he has responded with his best basketball. He is top 10 in scoring, rebounding, field goal percentage, block shots, and offensive rebound. He has been a very productive young man.
Speaking of production inside for the team here in Central Illinois and Illinois State, Phil Fain is having a sensational senior year.
He has gotten better and better each year on the offensive end, rebounds the basketball, but he also does it on the defensive end. He's only one of only 9 players in the country to register at least 20 blocks and 20 steals over the last 3 years, a complete player.
It's the Bears and the Birds. Battle number 2 between these two teams as Dana Ford matches wits with his mentor, Dan Muller. Starting lineups. Opening tip is heading your way next. The Conference Game of the Week is brought to you by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 1-800-STATE-FARM. By Purina Dog Chow, crafted in the USA by people who care with high-quality ingredients. That's the Dog Chow promise. By Casey's General Store. Casey's, famous for pizza. And by Explore St. Louis. Start planning your visit today at ExploreSt.Louis.com. Back in Normal, Illinois, Redbird Arena, it is ISU and MSU as we head to the final week of the regular season in the Missouri Valley Conference. All right, let's take a look at tonight's starting lineups. A presentation of Casey's General Store. Casey's, famous for pizza, Coach C.
It starts at the point for Missouri State. Josh Webster leads the league in assists. He runs the show.
And we take a look at Coach's keys to the game. It's made possible by Grinnell Mutual. Trust in tomorrow. Talk to a Grinnell Mutual agent today.
And for Missouri State, who do you think you are? I am. Dana Ford bucked the trend in college basketball. He's made his team a half-court team, and they have responded. That's who I am. And compete on the glass. Much bigger Illinois State team. Bears are going to have to compete hard on the glass. Keep it even. Illinois State, don't get boogered up. The key for Missouri State, control tempo. If you're in Illinois State, after playing 30 seconds of defense, you don't want to come down and take a quick shot on the offensive end. You got to take a good shot, be patient, and then pressure without penetration.
There you see the head coach in his 7th season in Bloomington Normal. You know, I was at the game in Springfield, got a chance to catch up with Dan Muller, and I said, you still talk to Dana? He says, every day. He goes, and I'm so proud of him, except I don't wish him the best of luck when he's playing against me. And there he is, Dana Ford, potentially the coach of the year in the Missouri Valley Conference. Of course, graduated from here from Illinois State, was an assistant under Dan Muller. Sensational job in his first year in Southwest Missouri.
One could argue coach of the year, obviously Darren DeVries, an outstanding job at Drake. But what Dana Ford has done midstream, and it was the Loyola game where they doubled them up 70-35, was the game that turned the tide for them.
74 meetings between these two teams included tonight. In fact, their first meeting go back to 1967. It was the Division II National Semifinals. Missouri State came out on top on that one, 93-76. We're underway. Final home game for these Redbirds here at Redbird Arena. Nice cut to the glass by Tinsley, and the offensive foul. Birds hadn't seen a losing streak as long as they had leading into Sunday's game for over 5 years, but Dan Muller's squad coming up with the big victory on Senior Day here this past Sunday, as you mentioned, Coach.
Well, that could be the one that turns the tide for them. They haven't shot the ball well over the last 6 games, and it has been a guy like Zach Copeland who could lead them back.
Long possessions is what you'll see from the Bears team. Preklow from downtown. De Silva crashing the glass, and we'll go back the other way.
Scott, I'm going to go back to that defensive possession by Missouri State. Tulio De Silva takes the charge. Leading scorer, also the guy who has taken the most charges on this Bears team. When your leading scorer is locked in on the defensive end, you're going to be a good defensive team.
All right, so we're seeing the full court pressure right now by Missouri State. We showed you in the open the dramatic finish in the game in Springfield 17 days ago. Was talking to Coach Dana Ford as Fain's wide open underneath with the assist on Malik Yarborough. But Dana told me, he said, Scott, before the timeout, after the free throw, only down by 2, we initially were going to go with a zone full court pressure, but when ISU called the timeout, we went to man-to-man. Hence, you had the steal, desperation, and Dixon for the winner.
Well, that is a senior making a play that will live forever in Bears history.
Yarborough on De Silva with 2 seconds left on the shot clock. Terrific defense by Malik. Fain running the floor, tie up, and the jump ball call.
We talk about De Silva's defense, but Yarborough able to make the block, and then great play by Dixon, hustling back in transition, takes away an easy opportunity for Fain.
Missouri State has not won in Bloomington Normal in 7 years. First place for the Bears on the line here tonight, and a possible chance to win the league title in Dana Ford's first season. Fain, who had a big game in the loss against MSU in Springfield earlier. Yarborough crashing the glass, and somehow De Silva comes away with it.
A lot of banging inside, but they're letting them play early.
You mentioned that Loyola game that changed the fortunes of this regular season for Missouri State. You know, you talked to Dana Ford, and I know you did before the season. Webster on the drive, and the block by Tinsley.
Well, the key was they couldn't let Loyola control the game by controlling the ball. And Tinsley, good job of moving their feet, blocking the shot.
Possession down to 3 on the shot clock. Missouri State still shut out the first 3 minutes here in Central Illinois. Evans lost the handle, and they'll retain possession. But back to the story that Dana Ford was telling me, and I'm sure he told you this before the season. He wanted to play up-tempo. He wanted to get it. He said, look, we didn't have De Silva at the time. We didn't think that De Silva was even going to play for us as a transfer from South Florida, so we had to shoot threes, a lot of threes. But once De Silva came into play, we had the success in that game that you mentioned against Loyola. He goes, you're winning. You can't change it. He didn't change it. It's a lot of success down in Springfield.
Well, you change your style and then beat the defending champion soundly. You doubled them up 70-35, and all of a sudden players believe right away, and they have carried it through 8-2 over the last 10 games.
You think about it, you're a new head coach, you're implementing a new system, and you got new guys, so many new faces, whether it's Webster, there's the first basket for Missouri State from Dixon. De Silva, Cook, you go right on down the line, and to mesh this whole thing together in year one, pretty incredible. There's the steal by De Silva. Inadvertent pass by Illinois State.
Missouri State's not really trying to steal. They're just trying to slow them down, run some clock, shorten the game. A little bit different from Missouri State than a lot of teams. Teams that usually shorten the game by running clock means they can't score. But you have three very good scorers on this team in Cook, De Silva, Dixon, Greco when he's making shots. So they're used to being able to score at the end of the shot clock because they have that skill level.
Yarbrough trying to dish it off to Fain. In transition, and Yarbrough hustling back on defense. Malik and Fain had the bad angle. Yarbrough with another rebound.
Coach Bowen yelling to Yarbrough, slow down. A lot of emotion at the outset of this game. Obviously, Missouri State knows what they're playing for, but Illinois State is trying to play themselves out of opening round, and they need 2 wins to do that.
4-minute drought right now for ISU. Fain versus De Silva, the matchup Coach told you about before the game.
Well, that's the question that Dana Ford has to answer. He told me before the game that he was going to single cover Fain. Now, he did that in the first matchup, and Fain went for 22 points. The key is you must make Phil Fain shoot over you. Last possession went right by him.
Greco lost the handle. Tinsley for 3. Webster with the rebound. Webster's a great story. The transfer from Texas Tech. He's had 4 games this year without a turnover. In fact, he had a 15-assist, 0-turnover game against Arkansas Pine Bluff earlier this season. That's a coach's dream right there.
Oh, it certainly is. You think he's anxious to go back home to St. Louis? The Christian brother graduate.
Missouri State College.
Just underway, our Missouri Valley Conference Game of the Week. Final week of the season of the Valley. It's the Birds and the Bears from Central Illinois. Just underway, our Valley Game of the Week here from Bloomington Normal, Illinois. Folks, closed captioning for tonight's telecast is made possible by the Doubletree by Hilton Bloomington, the preferred hotel of the Missouri Valley Conference in the Central Illinois Twin Cities. Call 309-644-6446 or visit Doubletree.com to book your hotel rooms on your next trip to Bloomington Normal.
Scott, let's go back to that last offensive possession for Illinois State. You're going to see them in transition, basically secondary break, and Tinsley is going to take a challenged three-point shot. And that's what I meant about don't get boogered up. All of a sudden, Missouri State ran shot clock. You come down and take a quick 3. Although Tinsley can make that, in a game like this, you got to turn that one down and make Missouri State play some defense.
Opening 6 minutes, 7 turnovers combined for both of these teams. Copeland. Idowu. Rob trying to get his own rebound, and there is Webster. One last story on Webster. Again, senior from St. Louis, making the transfer from Texas Tech. I asked Coach Dana Ford, I said, you've been in the Valley as a player, assistant coach here at Illinois State and at Wichita State. Does it remind you of anybody? Especially not turning the ball over. He goes, absolutely, Scott. Fred Van Vliet. He's pretty good.
He is a pretty good player for Wichita State.
And the rebound by Matt Hyde, who's just back in the lap, and he calls the timeout to keep the possession for ISU. So it burns the first half timeout for Dan Miller's squad. Well, we mentioned Dana Ford again in his first year and doing an amazing job. We have 3 new coaches in the Missouri Valley Conference. Of course, Walter McCarty turning things around at Evansville. But how about the guy in Des Moines, Mr. Darren DeVries? He's doing a pretty good job himself, isn't he?
Well, that might be the understatement of the year. I mean, you think about Darren DeVries, what he had and his team had to overcome. Nick Norton, who led them through a terrific non-conference season, he goes down with a knee injury in the first conference game. That's okay. They revamp it. They build things around Nick McGlynn, and Nick McGlynn has had a outstanding senior year, perhaps a player of the year in the waiting.
And the only returning starter from last year's team. Remember, they lost the great Reed Timmer to graduation last year, among others.
As you mentioned with Dana Ford, kind of putting the different pieces of the puzzle together. The same thing with Darren DeVries. What do you think? Can we have co-coaches of the year?
Might be. I'll tell you what. A lot of possibilities out there. A lot of possibilities for a league champion still with 2 games to play in this league. Oh, Hine off of his shoe and out of bounds. Again, as we mentioned, just back in the lineup on Sunday afternoon.
Scott, this really has a feel of a first-round tournament game. Both teams are playing tight. The emotions are running high. Just got to settle down. Take it easy. Illinois State shows a little 1-2-2 full court pressure.
Dan says, all right, Dana, you can do that, so can I.
The difference, they fall back into the 2-3 zone.
Cook. He is unable to find the range early on as Missouri State struggling, to say the least, offensively here in the opening 8 minutes. Yarborough. Muhammad with the rebound, and he has been doing that big time here the last couple of games for Coach Dana Ford.
Almost 8 rebounds a game. He has been a glass cleaner off the bench. Redbirds stay in the 2-3 zone.
Ritter, no. Weak side rebound by Yarborough right into the hands of Missouri State Muhammad.
You got to get De Silva a touch in the low post area.
There's De Silva there. Nice ball rotation. Cook on the drive. Yarborough. And when we come back, he'll go for a 3-point play. Just about the midway point of this one between ISU and MSU. To normal, and while we take a look at our Missouri Valley Conference standings, a production of Bruta Dog Chow, crafted in the USA by Pete, crafted in the USA by people who care with high quality ingredients. That's the Dog Chow promise.
Look how tight those standings are. In Northern Iowa, sitting 9-7, hosting Loyola this evening, can actually win the conference and be the top seed if they can win their last 2 games. But the same can be said about Drake. The same can be said about Loyola. And the same can be said about these Missouri State Bears. Unbelievable.
It truly is. And for the first time in the 12-year history of the Missouri Valley Conference, we'll have at least a 6-loss team that will capture the regular season title. Will Tinsley checks in for Malik Yarborough, and Missouri State 1 for 14 to start things off in this road game in the final week of the regular season. Ouch.
And I think they've got caught up in the emotion. They're playing a little bit faster than they like. Illinois State going to stay in the 2-3 zone. You got to try and beat the bump down, beat that wing, try and get it to De Silva on the baseline if you can.
Cook for 3. Hits his first one. nicely, trying to find Fane. Gets the touch on to Silva. Phil. Cannot get the roll. And those normally roll in for Phil Fane this year.
Change up offensively. They got Webster occupying the high post.
Dixon off on the 3 attempt. Also, Missouri State not really getting an opportunity here, Coach C, to get second chance points. Illinois State doing a nice job on the defensive glass early on.
Part of that is the quick shots for Missouri State. You don't get into rebounding positions.
Fane with the dish. Chastain's shot is blocked. Fans wanted a foul. Cook.
Scott, we talked about the offensive abilities of De Silva and DeAndre Cook. The acrobatic move, the young man from Baltimore, has been outstanding in conference play. Been in double figures 11 of the 16 games. And, you got two guys who can score at the end of the shot clock. It makes you very effective.
Well, there's no question Illinois State wants to get in a roll before they start Arch Madness. They were actually considered before the season one of the favorites to win the league. So this has been obviously a surprise for Dan Muller's squad this year to be where they're at with the final week of the regular season. But no question, after the heartbreak in Springfield, offensive foul on Fane. Hey, let's face it. That was a bitter taste leaving Springfield, Missouri 17 days ago. They got a little payback on their mind here tonight, too.
Well, they certainly do. And Coach Muller had told me before their Indiana State game that when they lost to Valparaiso on a half-court heave by Marcus Golder, they rebounded from that one. But when Dixon knocked the one down in Springfield from half-court, they really never recovered and have been trying to find their footing ever since.
That was the 13th charge taken by De Silva this season. And the finish with the assist from Krecklow.
Nice job by De Silva hiding behind the zone.
First lead for Missouri State. Trying the diagonal pass, and there's just too many red jerseys as Krecklow trying to thread the needle there. Offensive rebound for the Redbirds. Dude. Julio De Silva and the Missouri State Bears starting to storm back here as both teams start to get into a rhythm offensively. Valley game of the week between Illinois State and Missouri State from Redbird Arena. Folks, established in 1907, the Missouri Valley Conference is the second oldest D1 athletics conference. To learn more about the storied history, visit the Valley Runs Deep landing page at mvc-sports.com/the Valley Runs Deep. And there you see the Valley Runs Deep March Madness success since 2012, Coach Rich Savosic.
Well, you have to go back to former member Wichita State for the last time that a team from the Valley lost in the first round. And, of course, a couple of Final Fours, most recently by the Ramblers of Loyola.
Three-point play is completed. And from Missouri State, after a 6-minute drought where they went 1 for 14, they just had a 7-0 run where they're 3 for their last 4 from the field.
Illinois State goes back man-to-man. We'll see how long they stay in it.
De Silva. 2 on the shot clock. And back the other way.
That's the unselfishness of Tulio Da Silva. He knows he's going to touch the ball. He doesn't force it. He gave Dixon a wide open look. Missouri State just daring Illinois State to take a jump shot out of the full court pressure.
Evans in the paint.
Smart decisions by Illinois State. Don't take that quick jump shot if you can get to the rim.
Webster to Da Silva, and some contact inside, and a foul on Illinois State. Hey folks, stay tuned for our halftime report, a presentation of State Farm, there for you when things go wrong, but also here to help life go right. Talk to an agent today at 1-800-STATE-FARM.
And Scott, that's a perfect example of this Missouri State offense. It looks like they're not looking for a shot. They're weaving out front, but they're always cutting with a purpose, and Da Silva drew that foul. If he hadn't been fouled, he would have had a dunk.
Looks like Dana's flexing Da Silva out at least a little bit more here after the under 12 timeout. We're seeing him at least initially go out and then hit back into the post area. And Cook has to force it up. Almost got a shot clock violation.
Illinois State playing outstanding defense again.
Missouri State foul charge to Tulio Da Silva. His first
Da Silva picks up his first personal.
possession on
4 team fouls for both squads.
But we talk about Missouri State's offense and how it controls the game, but they have become a very solid man-to-man team. And they played a little bit different. It's one-on-one. They keep the ball in front of you. They lead the league in scoring defense, only give up 61 points a game.
Just like that, 7-0 run right now for ISU. The counterpunch by the Redbirds. The largest lead of this first half for Illinois State. Da Silva trying to back in. Crashing the boards is Ritter. And he gets the stick back. And now Dana Ford calls the timeout.
Ritter, the Springfield native, went away, got his feet wet at Xavier, and decided to come home. Dana Ford is happy to have him. Terrific offensive rebound effort.
Kickapoo High School in Springfield, Missouri. As you mentioned, back to Mr. Show Me Basketball a couple of years ago. And really, you think about it, he has sat out a lot of basketball, not only last year, but parts of this season as well, before finally getting into the groove of things within a month into the regular season. All right, folks, when the MVC TV network cruise takes to the road and considers these properties home, these hotels consistently support the conference and its 10 member institutions. Please call or visit the websites of these properties when making plans to follow your favorite team away from home. Copeland. And there's a bump on Copeland.
Well, that's the frustration of Zach Copeland. It's the same for Dan Muller as he's telling him, hey, that's a quick shot. Take your time. Make them play a little defense. Copeland has been very cold over the last 5 games for Illinois State.
Cook trying to get it to Da Silva. And what do we have? Last touch by Missouri State. I couldn't tell for sure if Winston did the call to foul or was just out of bounds, but it was out of bounds. Missouri State, another turnover.
A terrific job by Hine, holding his own against the much taller Da Silva.
Boy, mismatch, Yarbrough and Krecklow. from Aduwu. 5 points off the bench for Aduwu.
And the guy who is applauding the most on the bench is Phil Fain. Think about it. Fain's graduating and Aduwu getting valuable minutes right now. And perhaps we're seeing a harbinger of things to come.
Dixon on the drive on Hine, and Matt will pick up the foul. What a senior season for Jared Dixon. Hey, let's face it, you know this, Coach Savosic, when you have a coaching change, it's a struggle not only for an entire team, but especially when you talk about seniors that have been a part of the program and kind of leaders of the program, and then all of a sudden you've got this culture change, the change in philosophies and what have you. I talked to Dana Ford about this. He said, you know what, talking to some of the assistants, they cannot remember one bad practice that Krecklow or Dixon have had, and they have been phenomenal. And Dana Ford changing the scene in Springfield.
Oh, just a credit to the character of those two young men, the coachability.
Boy, you talk about confidence. Ray Idowu probably has as much confidence as I've seen him in his young career here in Bloomington Normal. And listen to the crowd at Redbird Arena.
He is fired up, and he's got these fans fired up.
We'll roll to a break. 3:49 remaining in our opening half of our Valley Game of the Week. Big bench minutes for ISU and their big man, Ray Idowu. Their largest lead so far tonight with 3:49 remaining in our opening half. Log on to ExploreSt.Louis.com today to start planning your trip to St. Louis for the State Farm MVC Men's Basketball Tournament. It begins at the Arch on March 7th through the 10th. Don't miss out. Looking forward to it, Coach.
Scott, coaches preach to the players on the bench all the time. Keep yourself in the game. Be ready. Your opportunity is coming. Well, Phil Fain picks up 2 fouls, and Ray Idowu has made the most of his time here in the first half.
Jared Dixon, a 74% free throw shooter this season. Senior passed the 1,000-point mark in his career against Arkansas Pine Bluff earlier this season. And has a career best 43s made so far in the 2018-19 campaign as checks out and DeAndre Cook back in. You mentioned Fain and Idowu. 14-6, Illinois State outscoring Missouri State with points in the paint.
Idowu doing an outstanding job. Got to give him another touch. He'll go get it.
Gassman in, and there's De Silva. And the timeout is called by Missouri State to try to maintain the possession. And there you see Dana Ford, a little emotional there. We've seen a lot of emotion from the first-year head coach. Folks, visit participating Schnucks and Hy-Vee locations or the ticket discount section of archmadness.com to book your Purina Dog Chow Family Fun Pack coupons. The Family Fun Pack will get you 4 tickets, 4 sodas, and 2 popcorns for only $75. Get your Purina Dog Chow Family Fun Pack today.
It is going to be a wide open Arch Madness.
We call it the Wild Wild West. Well, it's definitely going to be the Wild West of the Gateway City coming up in a little over a week. Again, Missouri State, that 3-way tie for the top spot for a league title heading into this final week of the regular season. And Illinois State still trying to get themselves positioned to stay away from Thursday. De Silva underneath the basket. and he'll head to the free throw line with 3:05 remaining in the opening 20 minutes.
Set play out of the timeout by Dana Ford. Well executed, and you'll notice he's brought De Silva up to the high post to move the defender around, and De Silva much quicker.
Transfer from South Florida.
Jared Dixon returns for the Bears.
And just like that, it's a 3-point lead now for Illinois State. Yarborough, nice move inside.
Krecklow gambled and lost, went for the steal. Yarborough had him sealed.
League passing the 1,000-point mark in his career just the other day. Boy, what a quick reverse step by De Silva. My, oh my.
He gets it done in the paint, a little bit different than some of the other post players in the league. His quickness, more than his strength, is his asset.
Yarborough just inside the arc. And he's starting to get into that rhythm now, Coach.
He certainly is. And he knows there's not a whole lot of games left in his senior career, and he's trying to make the most of it.
And when he's on, look out. Webster dumping it down to De Silva off the backboard. He'll kiss it off the glass and in. And De Silva's on a roll, almost single-handedly keeping Missouri State in this one. A tight one here late in the first half. Yarborough in the paint, short on the attempt. Bears with a chance to tie it on this possession. Redbirds back to a zone defense. Dixon. Shot clock down to 5. Cook from the corner. We're tied at 22 with 50 ticks left in our opening half here from Redbird Arena in Normal, Illinois. It's our Valley Game of the Week. Stolen by Krecklow. And just for the second time in this first half, Missouri State has taken a lead at 24-22. Krecklow gambled and won that time around. 7-0 run for the Bears.
Illinois State space the floor, trying to get Yarborough one-on-one.
Webster at the buzzer, and they say it's after the buzzer. And so the Redbirds go into the locker room with a 1-point lead at 25-24, and ISU 14-1 when leading at the half. Time to check in with head coach of Illinois State, Dan Mueller, for his plans for the second half. Brought to you by Casey's General Store with their own Coach Stavosic.
Coach, defensively outstanding. What was the key in slowing them down?
Well, we played good defense. We got in foul trouble, but we're contesting shots. We're guarding well, both man and zone. Missouri State plays ugly games. It's kind of what it is. That's what it is tonight.
What's the message to the team at halftime?
We got to take care of the ball. I mean, our turnovers drive me nuts. Other than that, we're good.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
All right, coaches, and thank you very much. And our chat with the coaches this season is brought to you by Casey's General Store. Casey's, famous for pizza. As Dan Mueller mentioned, it's a grudge match right now here in Central Illinois as we head down to the final week of the regular season of the Valley. Right now, Birds lead the Bears by 1 at the break. Their for you when things go wrong, but also here to help life go right. Talk to an agent today at 1-800-STATE-FARM. And right now, it's time for tonight's profile. It's made possible by Arch Madness 2019. MVC correspondent Kurt Pegler takes a look at Redbirds junior guard Zach Copeland.
Sitting out last season, Zach Copeland watched Redbird games from the bench. Now that he's finishing his first season in the Missouri Valley, he has a different perspective of the game.
The league is pretty good. It's different when you're playing than watching. It's a good conference to play in, so definitely made me a better player.
Took him a little while to get used to the rhythm and the flow of the game, like a lot of guys. But Zach's a huge part of our team, obviously.
Illinois State fans know Copeland as the junior college transfer with a keen passing eye and a good shot. But his friends know him as the basketball player who likes to draw.
I'm a big superhero fan, so I used to draw Spider-Man, Wolverine, stuff like that. And I kind of taught myself how to draw, so I started getting good when I was in middle school.
His college schedule keeps him from drawing as much as he'd like, but if he had time, there's no doubt which teammate he'd draw into a superhero.
I'd probably draw Keyshawn because of his wild hair.
He'd be fun to draw.
Yeah, he'd be fun to draw. Got wild hair, got a beard and stuff, so it would be fun drawing him.
One other thing he'd like to draw, a story that includes his Redbirds winning a Valley championship. For the Missouri Valley Conference, I'm Kurt Pegler.
All right, Kurt, thanks. And tonight's profile is made possible by Arch Madness 2019. Make plans to attend the State Farm MVC Men's Basketball Tournament at Enterprise Center in St. Louis on March 7th through the 10th. For more information, visit archmadness.com. Stick around. More of our State Farm halftime report when we come back. Well, presentation of State Farm, there for you when things go wrong, but also here to help life go right. Talk to an agent today at 1-800-STATE-FARM. And take a look at our first half stats, a production of the Doubletree by Hilton Bloomington, the preferred hotel of the Missouri Valley Conference in the Central Illinois Twin Cities. Call 309-664-6446 or visit doubletree.com to book hotel rooms on your next trip to Bloomington Normal. There you see both teams struggling offensively. Look at only three points made between the two teams out of 12 attempts, and the rebounds, that's interesting, and keep an eye on that, especially in the second half. Illinois State with the advantage right now. In fact, they've outboarded their opponents in the last 5 games, and you see 6 turnovers for Missouri State. That is very uncharacteristic. They had 5 within the first 6 minutes of this one, so they've settled down after the first 5, 6, 7 minutes of this opening half, and that is our stats for the first half. When we come back, we'll get you set for the second half between the Birds and the Bears from Redbird Arena. The week is brought to you by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 1-800-STATE-FARM. By Bruno Dog Chow, crafted in the USA by people who care with high-quality ingredients. That's the Dog Chow promise. And by Casey's General Store. Casey's, famous for pizza. Our halftime report continues. A presentation of State Farm, there for you when things go wrong, but also here to help life go right. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM. Time to check in with Missouri State head coach Dana Ford and his plans for the second half, brought to you by Casey's General Store with our own coach Rich Savosa. Coach,
you got the pace you wanted in the first half. De Silva touched the ball more in the second part of the first half. What's the key to get him the ball in the second half?
Well, I mean, eventually you have to loosen up. I mean, you can't just pound it down there. We'll probably turn it over, but we just have to keep doing what we do and hopefully stick around long enough to make some plays.
Defensively, you held Yarborough in check until the last couple of minutes. Will we see any adjustments to try and contain Yarborough?
No, I mean, we're only down by 1. I mean, I think what we're doing is fine. We've got to try to keep our body in the play and make things harder on him and stay true to the scouting report.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Gentlemen, thank you. And our chat with the coaches this season has been brought to you by Casey's General Store. Casey's, famous for pizza. All right, so as we get set for the second half, a quick look back at the first half field goals here, and there you see the start and the finish for both of these teams, Coach Z.
I think both coaches echoed the same thought. You got to take better care of the basketball. Just slow down and do what you do best. And we saw the Redbirds with Yarborough take over the last couple of minutes of the first half. Missouri State getting the ball into De Silva. So you got to stick to what got you there. You know, dance with the partner that brought you to dance.
Yeah, Malik with the final 7 points for the Redbirds to close out the opening half of play. And there you see Tulio De Silva, 8 points, 5 rebounds for MSU, as ISU will have the opening possession here in our second half of our Valley Game of the Week. Fane with a couple of fouls, had some time on the bench on Dan Muller's squad in that opening half, and good start for him in the opening 20 minutes.
Well, Dan Muller wants to get his big guy right untracked. At the beginning of the half, goes right to him.
Cook. Drive. Short. Copeland. DeAndre has definitely struggled on the road here tonight.
Credit that to the Illinois State defense. He has not gotten any open looks.
Copeland in and out. Tinsley trying to crash the glass, and good job there by Keandre to get the board.
Missouri State's got to shift the defense. Get the ball going side to side. That's when they're at their best.
Looks like we're getting a foul called on Copeland.
Copeland slapped down.
Yep.
Has Cook on his back. Good sportsmanship by Zach Copeland.
That's 3 on Zach. So Gassman, as you see, they're checking in for Coach Dan Muller's squad. Dixon, mid-range jumper, drops down.
Illinois State got caught in a mismatch. Fane was on the quicker Dixon.
Nice pick and roll between Yarborough and Fane. He gets his own rebound and gets the bucket of the foul. Folks, the MVC Fan Hangout is the perfect gathering place before and after games during Arch Madness. It's located at Ballpark Village in downtown St. Louis, just across the street from Busch Stadium. For additional information, visit archmadness.com/fans.
Just a terrific catch by Fane in traffic, and he gets rewarded with a three-point play. I don't know if people realize how hard that is. You're moving, you're 6'9", you're between 2 gray jerseys.
Webster with the head fake. Tinsley tried to go for the foul, and he picks up, or excuse me, the block, and he picks up the foul.
To William Tinsley, his second personal, second team foul.
Let's take another look at the Fane catch on the roll. You got 3 gray jerseys. He's able to make the catch and then follow his own miss.
Webster 77% from the charity stripe this season.
Comes that three-quarter court press. Illinois State turned it over early, but they figured it out. It's not really trying to go for a steal. You just got to be patient against it.
Now they go to a zone. Tinsley from the outside. Webster gets the rebound.
About time you get De Silva a touch.
Bounced out of his hands and right into the midst of Yarborough. Now to Fain, and the foul. That's part of Malik Yarborough's game, I think, that we forget about. We talk about the rebound, we talk about the points, but he's been one of the top assistants since coming here to Normal Illinois.
And when Phil Fain runs the floor, oh, he's a thing of beauty.
He is.
And you talk about Yarborough and his distribution abilities. One of 9 players to have over 475 points, over 200 rebounds, and over 90 assists this year. He is in pretty strong company.
Senior drains both free throws. Lead up to 4 for Illinois State.
They keep Fain on Dixon with Yarborough on De Silva. They're trying to make sure that Fain doesn't pick up his 3rd foul. He gets caught on De Silva on the switch.
Dixon lost the handle, and the dish and the finish by Krecklow.
Senior to senior, trying to win a championship in the Missouri Valley.
Fain again. And there's the second foul on De Silva. You know, in the first meeting between these two teams, it was evident right from the opening tip that Dan Muller wanted to get the ball into the hands of Phil Fain. And I don't know how many total possessions Illinois State had in that first half in Springfield, Missouri, but I guarantee you, Phil Fain had way, and I mean way over 50% touches on every offensive possession for Illinois State in that opening half.
Oh, we've seen the point of emphasis here again tonight. Although it wasn't Fain, it was Idowu, but the second half has been pounded inside, and make De Silva play defense, try and wear him out.
Phil Fain with all 9 second half points right now for Illinois State.
Well, think about it. Your seniors have to lead you. Yarborough finishes with the final 7 in the first half. And then, as you say, Fain the first 9.
Looks like Gassman's going to pick up the foul. Isaac, the sophomore from Ottawa, Illinois.
Possession out of bounds.
Chastain will come in for Will Tinsley. Chastain, the transfer from Loyola, had to sit out last year. And another foul, a drive by Dixon.
Scott, I know the fans didn't like it, but at first blush, I think it was a pretty good call. And I think Dixon just avoids him just enough that Chastain has to lean to try and draw it.
Jared Dixon the line for the Bears, shooting 2. Javier Muhammad enters the Bears line.
Webster's going to get a rare rest. Although we're right at the media timeout, I'm sure he'll be back in very soon.
Redbirds fans a little restless right now.
Might be one of the most boisterous midweek crowds I've seen here in Bloomington.
What? Oh, wide open. Fain can't finish, but gets his own rebound. You can can tell Fane and Yarborough right now, they're just in, they got the chemistry going right now.
Yarborough read the miscommunication by Missouri State. They're playing a zone. They're not used to playing it. Dana Ford wants to play man-to-man.
Cook will head to the free throw line when we come back. Yarborough, Fane, it's been the combination for most of this second half as they have led the Birds to a 5-point lead. Opening stages of our second half of our Missouri Valley Conference Game of the Week. In fact, let's take a look at tonight's NBC scores. A presentation of Grinnell Mutual Insurance. Trusted tomorrow. Talk to a Grinnell Mutual agent today as Southern Illinois up big in Southwest Indiana. Just underway at Des Moines, up in Cedar Falls, and Valpo and Bradley just underway just a few miles west of us on I-74. How about this second half start for Phil Fane, Coach Savosic?
He was well rested from the first half. He had 2 fouls, sat on the bench most of the first half. He went to school watching Ray Adowu go to work, and Phil Fane strong inside to start the second half.
He has scored all 11 second half points for ISU.
2-3 zone now by Illinois State. You got to find De Silva on the baseline. He's hiding back there somewhere.
Dixon for 3. De Silva tracks down the miss. There's De Silva at the baseline. Muhammad has a shot blocked by Chastain, and he has hit the deck hard, and he is injured, slow to get up on the other end, and now they blow a whistle. I mean, he hit the back of the backboard pretty hard, man. This young man just goes all out, Coach Savosic.
We saw him twist an ankle earlier this year with the hustle. It doesn't look like he necessarily came down wrong on it. It looks more like he just banged it.
Yarborough.
Yarborough was such a spinning move that he knocked the shoe right off of Keandre Cook.
Largest lead of the night for Illinois State, now at 7. They've hit that a couple of times in the opening half.
I like Webster at that high post area. He's a very good facilitator from that spot.
Cook from downtown, and Gassman tracks it down and right into the hands of Webster, and De Silva will have to earn these next 2 points on the foul.
That is what you call taking no prisoners. De Silva just goes strong to the hole. Take another look at that. I mean, Yarborough is going for the ball, so I don't think it's just a hard foul. I don't think there's any intent, but De Silva going hard. You got to try and dunk everything in there when you're playing against Illinois State.
Now here's an interesting development. Early stages of this second half. That's already the 16th foul on the Redbirds. So Missouri State may be shooting a lot of free throws in this second half on the road.
Well, let's see if Dan Muller comes back in that 2-3 zone the next time they are on the defensive end. Smart move by Tinsley. Get the ball out of the middle once you cross it half court.
Tinsley gets it to Fane. Back to Tinsley for 3. Now the largest lead of the night for the Redbirds. Krecklow tries to answer. Yarbrough, he feels it.
Just terrific inside-out action with Fane. The double comes, Fane kicks it out, and Tinsley delivers. That last foul, you can see Yarbrough, once he got the defender, Cook on his heels, backpedaling, it was over.
Just the second triple made for ISU tonight.
Scott, here's the test now for Missouri State. They're a team that doesn't want the game to become sped up. So they're a team that may struggle when they are playing from behind. They're obviously at their best when they have a 1 or a 2 point lead because they can slow it down. But now they're going to have to show some poise and some patience and really stick to activity. They got to stick to what got them here.
Facing a double-digit deficit for the first time tonight.
Well, we saw that in Missouri State's loss to Northern Iowa. Once Northern Iowa got up 9 or 10, it sped Missouri State up, and they played like they really don't want to play.
Shot clock at 4. Dixon. And again, that's on Keyshawn Evans. That is the 7th team foul at the 12:36 mark.
Scott, they're going to call that on Evans, but he got the worst of that matchup. And I believe they called it, even though Dixon may have extended the arm, Evans tried to reach in, and that's what the official saw.
Locals are a little ticked.
You can see Evans reaches in first, and then Dixon hits him with the shoulder and his elbow. But if Evans had not reached in, it would have been a charge. I gotta tell you, these fans here, it's like it's a packed house. They're so loud.
Dixon is 5 of 6 from the free throw line tonight. Again, MSU in the penalty situation for the final 12 and a half of this second half.
It's good to see Chastain back in the game.
Fane on De Silva. No help for De Silva. And that time, De Silva wins the battle.
Terrific defense by De Silva. He never allowed Fane to get a shoulder by him. Got to look down on the baseline. Got to try and get De Silva the ball behind the zone.
Dixon. First field goal made for MSU since the 16:44 mark of this second 20 minutes of play. Lead down to 6 at 43-37. Evans wide open, and he can't hit the lay-in. Webster in transition. And Missouri State will do what they do best, slow the game down. Cook with a wide open 3. 7-0 run for the Bears, and a timeout. Cook, the junior from Baltimore, drains the triple, and the Bears are back in it here in Normal. Redbirds up by 3 in the second to last game of the regular season in the Missouri Valley Conference here in Normal. Let's get to tonight's Enterprise Bank and Trust MVC Scholar Athlete of the Game. It is Illinois State's Kyle Mattis, senior runner from Elmhurst, Illinois. Mattis finished 4th at the 2018 MVC Cross Country Championships and a 2-time NCAA Cross Country Championship participant, has a 3.28 CUME GPA in mathematics. The official bank of the Missouri Valley Conference, Enterprise Bank and Trust, member FDIC. Yarborough on Krecklow. Malik just has it stolen away in a 2-on-1. Good hands by Copeland. Avoids the easy 2 for MSU.
We have an official's timeout on the floor. It's time to turn back the clock.
Bloomington Normal, Illinois, and Redbird Arena as the home team up by 3 as we're in the midway mark of this second half. The 2019 St. Louis Cardinals season is just around the corner. Ticket packs and single game all-inclusive tickets are on sale now. Get yours today at cardinals.com. Redbird fans, Illinois State Redbird fans en masse here at Redbird Arena. Their team up by 3, but again, 17 fouls, so already the penalty situation for free throws for Missouri State, as we told you that transpired about 2 minutes ago. So quick fouls taken by Illinois State early in the second half here, Coach Savosic.
Well, let's see if they take advantage by driving the ball or pounding it inside.
Looks like Copeland's going to pick up the foul. He was out of bounds. My apologies.
Playing skippies with the line.
Yeah.
You almost feel like this Missouri State three-quarter court press is just waiting for that one opportunity to jump the passing lane. This is a set play to get Copeland a shot going to the basket, and once he turns the corner, he's able to finish.
First field goal of the night for Zach Copeland. In fact, his first field goal in the last 3 games. He was 0 for his last 16 from the field until he made that lay-in and completes the three-point play. Webster wide open, gets the easy lay-in. A little breakdown defensively there for ISU.
Well, you're so used to Webster just looking to pass the ball, and he caught Chastain sleeping.
Evans had that pass blocked by Dixon. Good defense by the senior from Kansas City.
And once again, they'll take some time off the clock, and Josh Webster controlling this offense.
Cook. There's that Adowu guy again with the rebound, and in transition, Chastain with the finish.
Yarborough catches Missouri State ball watching. Chastain filling the lane.
That easy this time for Webster.
He woke him up.
Yes, Dixon from the outside. They're going to say it's a 2, and Dana Ford calls a timeout.
Well, this is why Dana Ford called a timeout. But this kind of play just fills my heart with joy. You got a guy who sprints the floor and gets rewarded. Malik Yarborough looking ahead. Chastain with the flush.
Hey, Valley fans, start planning your trip to St. Louis by downloading the Arch Madness app. It contains all of the latest game day information, including special events involving team and other promotions and giveaways throughout the weekend. See you in St. Louis. 48-44, 8:42 remaining. Missouri State again winning the first matchup between these two teams on a buzzer beater in Springfield. And now Missouri State with an opportunity to win a regular season championship. They're in a three-way tie right now in the final week of the regular season.
And Scotty, that was a good timeout by Dana Ford. He just wanted to remind his team that, hey, we got to do it on the defensive end.
Bain. And fans wanted a foul call, didn't get it. Dixon charging down the lane. Malik. That's his second.
The fans reacting to the replay on the video board.
You mentioned they're into it tonight, man. Woof. Cook from downtown, no. Great box out by Yarborough on the rebound.
Terrific defense by Yarborough before that. He didn't allow De Silva to get a touch.
Copeland for three, in and out.
I know Copeland made his last shot, but that's one you got to turn down at this juncture.
Dixon on Tinsley.
Come down in this possession. Got to get some going to the rim.
Yarborough. Well, there's times you just see it in his eyes. You know
he's taking over. And Greco played very good defense and knocked the first one away. You know, it's pretty simple, Scott. Seniors make plays, you win games.
De Silva, dish, Dixon, can't finish again. And they're going to say out of bounds, Illinois State basketball when we come back to Redbird Arena. There's an eastern view of the Gateway Arch in downtown St. Louis, and it's an example of the many attractions you can find as you explore St. Louis. The Valley is making its way to St. Louis for Arch Madness, so start planning your trip today at ExploreSt.Louis.com. With the coach, Rich Savosic, Jeff Graham, and our entire Niles Media Group crew, Scott Warman with you. Hope you're enjoying this one, our final telecast of the regular season on the MVC TV network from Normal, Illinois. And there you see the Redbirds up by a half dozen with 6:19 remaining here, Coach Savosic.
Kind of a look inside some numbers. Illinois State, very good when they lead at half, but Missouri State very good at closing games. So if you're keeping score at home, you got to try and get the lead in the 5-minute mark if you're a Bears fan, but not that way with a terrific set play out of the timeout.
It's amazing how they work almost every time out of the timeout. Still blows my mind. Coaches probably want more timeouts, right?
That's where Dan Muller is earning his money. Dead ball situations, very effective.
Webster, partially blocked by Tinsley, but they're going to say that Will got the body.
Josh Webster at the line for the Bears.
Third foul on Tinsley.
I love how Josh Webster picks his spots. When to become a scorer, a driver.
Folks, visit participating Chinooks and Hy-Vee locations or the ticket discount section at marchmadness.com to get your Purina Dog Chow Family Fun Pack coupons. The Family Fun Pack will get you 4 tickets, 4 sodas, and 2 popcorns for only $75. Get your Purina Dog Chow Family Fun Pack today. Missouri State 13 of 15 from the free throw line. Illinois State 10 of 10. Only 2 misses between the two teams. And De Silva looks like he might have picked up his 3rd foul. Make it 4 on De Silva. Phil Fain has been perfect at the charity stripe so far this evening. 5 of 5, make it 6 of 6.
It's a lot of hard work over the summer. Free throw percentage up almost 10 points.
As overall numbers, especially offensively, you think about field goal percentage, as you mentioned, free throw percentages, all has had a considerable jump from last year to this year.
They're going to run something for De Silva here.
Good defense by ISU.
Too many red jerseys.
Evans in traffic, kicks it back out. Tinsley, no. Ooh, Fain almost picked up the foul.
He's like, no.
I love the reaction. Cook wanted a foul, didn't get it. Yarbrough hustling for the loose ball. Fain on Ritter. Got to get back on defense, Coach.
He's celebrating. De Silva runs the floor, but you know there's going to be 2 guys who are going to be involved in just about every offensive possession, Yarbrough and Fain. Yarbrough got a good look at it.
Dixon. Webster, nice on the dribble drive. Well, he's had success doing that here tonight.
He's done everything he can to help his team win. Able to get to the basket, but Dan Muller wants to orchestrate this possession against the 2-3 zone. Got to get the ball to Fain.
Fain. Yarbrough. Foul. 3:15 remaining here in Normal, Illinois. Kind of like Abbott and Costello, but it's not too funny for MSU. Yarbrough and Fain and the Redbirds with the lead. Illinois State and Missouri State. Take a look at our game reset made possible by Purina Dog Chow, crafted in the USA by people who care with high quality ingredients. That's the Dog Chow promise. And Coach Savosic, there you see the foul situation, timeouts remaining for both teams, and the possession arrow favoring MSU right now.
And that could loom large in this game, the possession arrow.
Malik Yarbrough with 18 points tonight, along with his partner Phil Fain, and most of those 18 points for Phil Fain has come here in the second half. Remember, Yarbrough lit it up at the end of the first half with the final 7 points for ISU.
You know, I was thinking about the duo as we went to break. Perhaps Batman and Robin?
Batman and Robin. I told you Abbott Costello was just the first thing that just clicked into my head. Shows my age, obviously.
I didn't want to say anything, Scott.
12-12 20-point game of the season for Malik.
And a change of defenses out of the timeout, a 2-3 zone. Got to beat that wing.
Webster passed up the easy two to try to get a triple there.
Missouri State showing a little zone of their own.
Yarbrough trying to get the pick from Fain. Just a little short. Dixon. Missouri State still pretty patient here late in the game, down by 7. Webster running out of real estate. Yes, sir. The other way. The NBC TV network cameras make their way to Enterprise Center in St. Louis, Missouri on Thursday and Friday, March 7th and 8th as the 2019 State Farm NBC Men's Basketball Tournament takes center stage. Our Arch Madness coverage begins at 6 Central on March 7th, Thursday, on our network stations. For more information, visit NBC-sports.com.
Perhaps we'll see a different look out of full court pressure. Good job by Keyshawn Evans, not messing around with it, just look down the floor. Missouri State going to stay in that zone one more possession.
Possession clock down to single digits here. Yarbrough gets his pick.
And now you're going to run a set play right at the very beginning of the possession.
Third foul on Yarbrough.
Yarbrough a half a step late on the dribble by Cook.
Hey, Missouri State, you got to push the tempo now, right, Coach?
Well, I think you can make 2 free throws here, and their press will change. It'll go from that 3/4 court pressure to put somebody on the ball. They're going to trap the first pass. They don't need to foul in the backcourt. Still plenty of time. Try and get a steal in the backcourt, maybe play it out one more possession, although with that miss, you might have to foul here once it crosses half court.
Tinsley wisely just holding it there.
You got to figure out who's the worst free throw shooter.
So Copeland will head to the line with 1 minute and 20 seconds remaining. Dan Muller's team trying to hold on here and get the payback at Redbird Arena.
Copeland has struggled from the floor the last 4 or 5 games, but he is an 81% free throw shooter. We'll see if he lives up to the hype.
No.
This is eerily similar to the game in Springfield when Illinois State had the lead and missed some free throws.
Just hanging around.
Possession stays with Missouri State.
Remember, Illinois State's only loss with the lead at the half came at JQH on that Sunday afternoon 17 days ago. All right, we're going to review this last play here in the corner.
Tinsley gets a hand on it first. It's a tough call, but I think Tinsley does touch it last.
I agree.
What this
Looked
does,
like Cook's hands were flailing, but I don't think he actually touched the basketball. Like you mentioned, it looked like Tinsley was the last to touch it before it went out of bounds.
and the call on the floor was Missouri State ball, so it has to be irrefutable evidence for them to change the call. And what this does do, however, it gives Missouri State a chance to set up a play, get a free timeout, set your defense.
There's a touch by Cook, and then off the face there of Tinsley, and I don't think it scraped I think there. I think that's last touch by Tinsley. I think they're going to hold with the call of Missouri State basketball.
Possession stays with Missouri State.
You don't necessarily need a 3 if you can get a quick 2.
Cook, big 3 and a timeout by Dana Ford.
Oh, ice water in that young man's veins.
Charges for Missouri State.
Just shows you how disciplined this Missouri State team is. There's no rush, there's no hurry. They swing it twice, and they get their best shooter a wide open look, and he delivers.
All 4 MSU's threes made tonight have been from that man, DeAndre Cook. Time now for today's date in NBC history. It's brought to you by the 2019 State Farm NBC Men's Basketball Tournament at Enterprise Center in St. Louis. We go back to 2013 where Illinois State's Tyler Brown collect 25 and Jackie Carmichael added 16 and 11 boards as the Redbirds defeated Missouri State 86-50. It begins here at 10 Arch Madness 2019 on March 7th through the 10th. For more information, visit archmadness.com.
Jackie Carmichael was a beast inside.
He was something, man. Heck of a basketball player here at Illinois State.
Another one of those guys who came in, was very athletic, and his skill level improved with each and every year. You look at it now with Illinois State. Got to be strong with the basketball. Make sure you run through the pass. Don't give Missouri State a chance to jump the passing lane. Missouri State, give yourself a chance for a steal in the backcourt.
Last touch by Copeland. They lost the handle. Turnover. Missouri State catches a break down by 5.
Copeland was trying to dribble out of that trap before it was set. Good job by Krecklow.
Dixon on the drive. High off the glass. Closest we've been since 43-40 at the 11:22 mark.
And Dana Ford's going to elect to play this out with a differential of about 12 seconds. And Dan Mullen wants to set up a play.
Charges for Illinois State. It's a full timeout.
All right.
Scott, I have really been impressed with this discipline of this Missouri State team. Cook passes up a tough shot, swings the ball to Dixon, and Dixon with the judicious use of the left hand. The senior from outside of Kansas City is making plays.
Fearless going up against Fain. Obviously had the size advantage for Phil Fain, high off the glass. In fact, Missouri State on a 6-0 run in the last 63 seconds. All right, what do you do? Dan Muller's in that huddle right now. What are you setting up to try to make it a 2-possession game?
Well, the question you have to ask yourself, will Missouri State stay in the zone or will they go man-to-man? So you have to touch on that with your team if you're Dan Muller. Not necessarily set up 2 separate plays, but just say, hey, we're going to run this against man. If they show zone, we'll run 14 or X or whatever our zone play is. The key for Missouri State, on the other hand, is when the shot goes up, you got to find 5 red jerseys. We've seen it so often that it's not the first shot that beats you, but it's that offensive rebound that does you in.
Illinois State has 1 timeout remaining. Missouri State is out of timeouts. You see 16 ticks left on the possession clock. And they're going to call a foul on Krecklow. They were getting after it right in front of us here, buddy.
I'd say that was right in front of us. I'm not sure he got armed. I think it just went out of bounds, but credit Dana Ford. He wasn't going to sit back and let Illinois State run their play. Not I'll tell you what, I don't know if there was a foul. It was definitely off Greco, but the officials call it. Yarborough's got a chance to extend it. Still plenty of time on a make or a miss. You don't need a three, just need a quick basket if you can get all the way to the rim.
Webster. Oh, my. Wow. We've seen that, what, 3-4 times tonight from Missouri State?
So now you got to try and get a 5-second count. And foul when it comes in if you don't get a steal.
Copeland, who's over 80% from the free throw line. No, Yarborough just made 2. And time winding down, and Malik can ice this one for ISU and get the payback here at Redbird Arena.
Illinois State catches a break. Webster was trying to foul Yarborough, but the official didn't call it. An extra 4 seconds went off the clock. Quick shot, yeah.
Cook on the drive and whistle foul. 8.5 seconds remaining.
Now you have a decision if you're Dana Ford. The spread is 7. You tell Cook, okay, let's make the first, miss the second on purpose. Maybe you get an extra possession out of it.
All right.
Let's see what he does.
And let's see. And Miller's going to call his final timeout. So both teams out of timeouts. All right, Coach C, let's get to our players of the game. A presentation at State Farm, there for you when things go wrong, but also here to help life go right. Talk to an agent today at 1-800-STATE FARM.
De Silva was solid both ends of the floor, both halves, 6 and 6, but Malik Yarborough just took over at the end.
Remember, he finished the first half with the last 7 points for Illinois State. So far, he scored the last 8 for ISU to extend this to a 6-point lead. All right, let's see what DeAndre Cook does here.
Dan Muller telling his team, hey, be ready for the intentional miss. And if he makes it, got to make sure that we take care of the basketball.
That wasn't on purpose, and then we'll go back the other way. 2 seconds elapsed from the clock. Again, but most of this game, these two teams have really shot the ball well from the free throw line. Only 2 misses for Illinois State tonight. That was just the 4th miss, 15 of 19 for Missouri State.
Well, I'm not sure who the free throw shooting coach is for Illinois State, but he deserves a raise this evening. This is a good move by Illinois State. Make them throw the ball in right away.
Time winding down here. Yarborough with the rebound, and why not? Malik Yarborough and the Illinois State Redbirds, they get the payback with the victory here tonight over MSU, 65-57.
Well, unlike Springfield, where they missed free throws, they were clutch down the stretch. Malik Yarbrough, huge from the free throw line. Phil Fain, outstanding game. Got him off to a great start in the second half. Terrific team effort.
Big win for Illinois State, folks. A reminder, our next Missouri Valley Conference game of the week, well, will be from the Enterprise Center in St. Louis, Missouri on Thursday and Friday, March 7th and 8th, as the 2019 State Farm MVC Men's Basketball Tournament takes center stage. Our Arch Madness coverage begins at 6 Central, Thursday, March 7th, right here on our network stations. For the coach, Rich Savosik, Jeff Graham, and our entire Niles Media Group crew, Scott Warman saying, thanks so much for joining us. Again, the final score from Redbird Arena, Birds over the Bears, 65-57. Folks, we'll see you next week as Arch Madness, the 29th edition at the Enterprise Center. So long from Central Illinois.